we can't force somebody to understand our little culture. This isn't necessarily a hater comment, but I did have the question of like, hey,
stop worrying about what other people's moves are and worry about what your next move is. There's just people in the world. I hate. See.
I like that perspective of it's not on you. Kind of like salvation, right? A lot of us Christians will go, you know what? It's up to me. It's we do the superhero that it's up to me to get you saved, and it's just like no. The Holy Spirit does that. Like all you do is present the gospel. All you do is live a life in such a way that draws people unto you, and then also shows a difference of what it is to live in Christ versus outside of Christ, right? The Holy Spirit does all of that. And so I think that's a great perspective that we can't force somebody to understand our little culture. We can't force somebody to want to become a team player. I mean, heck, all of us, content creators definitely understand how there are so many people who might enjoy the content, but yet aren't pushing the content as well. They're not sharing it. They're not wanting to do that. Now, when we were talking last week with Jay, he was talking about that some people hold him as a sleeper artist. And so that got my mind thinking a little bit of not even sleeper artists, but just sleeper on content alone. So in other words, there's a lot of people who will consume the content or be watching you, right? Be watching you back behind the curtains. But yet, though they're there constantly, they're not actually interacting with your stuff. So how can we get, as content creators, how can we keep ourselves from being bitter about the fact that people say, we want to see more Christian content? Bro, that's why we do this show. That's why we do the Spotify playlist. That's why, I'm listening to people and they talk about, oh, we want more of this, one more of that. And so we're trying to do that. But then I look at everybody and I'm like, you know what? I'm not saying that it's not going to take time, but at the same time, you who said you really want it has yet to interact with what's already happening. What are your thoughts on that, bro?
I mean, you already started the fuel to the fire. Bro, you got to put the work in. It's not just about having the fan base, but how much are you actually dedicating yourself to your fan base? How are you actually interacting with them? Derek brought up a great point when we were talking, and he was mentoring. He was saying, listen, I got 100-something thousand followers on Instagram. How many people you think I actually talk to on a daily basis?
Facts.
Like, we have to get to the point where now, if y'all know me, if anybody knows me, and shout out to everybody in the chat, shout out to everybody that's tuning in. If y'all know me, if you're one of my followers, we've probably talked before. And that's just how I rock. Anybody that comes in contact with me, I want to be able to be a light. But I can't promise that it's always going to be that way. But what I do, what people like Derek does, we have to be able to be transparent. That is how, the more transparent you are, the more people are like, they come out the shadows. It's like, oh, this dude's real. Oh, this dude's really talking about relationship issues. Oh, this dude's on mental health. Oh, this guy's talking about struggling with his marriage and this, that, and the third. Like, that kind of stuff we have to put on the table. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, people like Scooty Wop, right? Let's take the Super Crump tape, for example, right? Him and Bryce G, phenomenal project, right?
Yeah.
There are people in secular world, right? There's just people in the world. I hate. See, I'm kind of all secular. I'm off of that right now, right? So there are just people in the world, right?
Yeah.
On TikTok, when you drive by, they over there. Hold up, I ain't with
that.
Right?
Yep.
And they don't have a clue who Scooty is, right? But at the same time, he's presented himself in such a viral way that it's in your face that you recognize who he is. And they feel like they know this guy because they've seen him on TikTok. So that's why when they're in public, they're like, hold up, I ain't with that. Not even knowing he's the CHH, not even knowing and that's the problem. It's like, we have to stop doing this. We have to stop putting ourselves in a box. The moment you do that is the moment you limit yourself from the people you can reach. Simple as.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting that you say that, especially that wording specifically. Because speaking of putting yourself in a box. So And the only reason why I'm referencing him is because he ended up referencing you last week too. Jay was talking about for him personally as an artist, he liked being put in a box because it allowed him to know basically what his fans liked, what he liked, and did it line up. And if it lined up, then he would continue to make stuff like that. So also part two as to where, so I want to, I guess I want to define things a little bit better because like for me as an artist or as a DJ, right? Both of us, our crates, we have crates. They're little boxes. And they have maybe genres, right? We're putting things together by genres. Maybe we're putting certain things together by decades or whatever, right? And so sometimes a box, again, depending on how you define it, is kind of good because then, again, for a viewer, so shout out to the viewers here. If the viewer's like, yo, I did not know that there was some Christian R&B artists out there, or there was R&B artists that do Christian music, let me go search for those of which who put themselves in that label. So I guess what's the difference between that box and label for you?
So, and this is why I'm gonna stop using the word box, bro. I keep quoting Derek because this is all the stuff we just talked about, bro. Shout out to Derek in the Discord, bro. That man be giving gems. I'm not gonna say box because here's the thing, it's a test market, right? So Jay's not in a box when it comes to his creativity. That's what I want to say. So
okay.
He's right, but in a sense, the way he's wording it is different from how I view it, right?
Yeah.
But that is a test market. When we look at companies like Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
Coca-Cola puts out zero diet, sugar-free, made with cane sugar, if you ever go to the Coca-Cola factory, there's more than one version of Coke, I guarantee you, right?
Right.
It's a testing market, right? So as a DJ, I can speak on this because if we're at a party with a certain crowd, like if we're in a party with an Ethiopian crowd, right?
Yeah.
We're in a party with a mostly African-American crowd. We're going to play certain music, right?
Facts.
Always a chance, right? You have DJs who are creative, who can mix different cultures and test market and say, look, and Integrity, you've known this. If you DJ live events, it's like, when somebody walks off the dance floor, that's the end of the test market. That one didn't work out. So let's shift our focus to something else. But being organized and being ready to go for your event, like having those crates and stuff put together, I don't feel like that's necessarily a box. I feel like that's marketing your brand to the right people. That's what I feel like that's doing. And I feel like if you're doing that, that's great. If something's not working out, cool. Let's shift the focus back to what's worked. But I don't think that's enough to say, hey, I'm in a box now of what I can do. Because guess what? If that one thing didn't work out for your main audience, you may have attracted 25 new followers instead of your 1,000 followers that really that space. And then that 25 starts to multiply to 50, starts to multiply to 100, and tenfold. But you may not know you can start a brand new community by expanding your creativity. That's why I want to put that out. You know what I mean? It may not be looking good for streams. It may not look good for analytics. But when you're looking at those analytics, look at how many countries you're hitting. Look at how many people in the age groups that you're hitting. You know what I mean? Look at if most of your music all the time is like me, and you're hitting the 25 to 22 to 28-year-old, the hype tracks and everything like that. Go put out love songs. See how many females you reach. See how many people you can heal on the feminine side. See how many people you can reach that are in their 40s and their 50s. You know what I mean? So that's my whole thing, is like, let your creativity be a guide to build communities.
That kind of brings me to a topic of which, and I know we all talk about one way or the other, those of which who are marketed to Christian hip hop, but yet, so they're taking the bag from Christian hip hop, so they're doing shows of which, but yet they would not want to be affiliated. Maybe they haven't verbally said it, but they're also doing nothing other than receiving or taking from the culture. And so specifically the artist, and I know there are others, right? But because this name is just a big name, especially it's kind of like it's like a bomb in a conversation. They had showcased NF in one of their slides, and I'm not like a straight. I mean, okay, I'm a natural born hater with love and grace, so y'all understand that. You guys know me on that. this isn't necessarily a hater comment, but I did have the question of like, hey, I don't care who you listen to for the most part. I mean, I would love for everybody to be listening to something that edifies and encourages and builds them up. And if you say you want to know more about your word, that you are linked up and listening to artists of which who promote it, either if not in their lyrics, in their life, in their lives, in their whatever, right? It's all that's about. But I'm very confused as to why Christians tend to try to really hard. I don't know what it is about NF, but they try really hard to keep holding on to people of which that don't really do anything other than take from the Christian fan base. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so there's two parts to that. I feel like it's gonna be hard. I feel like Christians, when it comes to hip hop, I feel like, or music in general, when it comes to Christian music, I feel like we want our champion. We want our Michael Jordan.
Yes, bro.
We want our Kobe Bryant, right? I feel like that's what the Christian fan base so desires for some reason. They're like, we have to have a champion to fight for us, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I think. If Christianity has to have a face, let it be Jesus at the end of the day. Let it be today. Stop worrying about what other people's moves are and worry about what your next move is. Because the biggest problem I have is we're so worried about what NF is doing and NF is this and NF is that. But we're not seeing the people. Yes, we're seeing he's taking the fan base from CHH and he's taking this, that, and the third. But let me tell you something. 15-year-old me hearing NF for the first time, tears straight down my eyes. That's how that having suicidal thoughts back in the day. Like, dude, there are artists that will change lives, but you're so worried about them being the next face of this and the next face of that. You are literally hindering them more than you are helping the space. You're not helping you're not helping the space any further, because at the end of the day, you're like this. Sorry. We want to pull Roger Goodell moves, right? We want to pull. Hey. Shout out to the NFL playoffs, but I gotta do. We want to pull big moves, and we want a Jerry Jones franchise, right? But instead, we don't even know how to be the head coach of our own lives.
Bro, saying a lot, bro. Yeah, and it's man, we had on our YouTube. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube there. We had a guest, and his name is Paul Fernandez, and we were talking about that same topic that you were talking about. I believe the video is titled "Celebrity Jesus," where it's like, yes, what is it about Christians as a whole that really want that champion, like you said, that really want, in the conversation that I had with Paul, we were talking about King Solomon, or Saul, and about how he wasn't trying to sign up to be king, but the people wanted a king. They wanted to be like the other nations and everything else around him, and so they were trying so hard to find that one person that guy was like, okay, even though I'm supposed to be your king, fine, let him have your king. And boy, did they have a king, right? It started off pretty, and then, man, it changed up. But that is so, again, that's so true. That's so weird that, like, for instance, okay, Kanye, right? Like, myself included, I was excited about his salvation. I could care less about the music. I really do not care one way or the other. I was more concerned about his salvation, and was it actually true, and was it actually walking out, and was there discipleship, and are there people around him? Same thing with Justin Bieber and many others, and those of which who are like Dante Bowe, or like those of which who have been in the Christian space. And then there are posts and things that like kind of make you question, and you're like, well, like, I am far more concerned about that person's soul, far more than them representing Christians. Like you said, I want to see the person who's on the screen representing Christ, not representing Christian culture.
So real quick, and I know. Look, I know integrity. I do this whole interview thing. Trust me, I don't want to be taking no more of his time than I have to.
You good, bro?
But listen, I'm gonna put it like this. So when we look at the Old Testament and we look at the New Testament, right? The reason why God came in human form, aka Jesus, was because he couldn't comprehend why us humans could not live by what he was putting in front of us in the Old Testament, right? The laws that he had already set for us in the Old Testament, and we broke them. We couldn't live by them. We were dying. People were dying by the thousands. Like, it was coming to the point where humans probably would have been extinct. You know what I mean? Because it was, we just couldn't get it together, right? So he sent Jesus, right, to be like, to literally live out a human life, right? And understand, like, why the heck are they not listening? Oh, he understood because we crucified God. We literally took God in form and said, even though he came down to show us the purest form, like, hey, I'm here now. What's the problem? Like I'm here now. So when I say it, it's like this. History repeats itself, right? And the problem with us, with Christians, is we're looking for a champion. Back then, people were looking for the Messiah. People were looking for the true salvation. It's right in front of your face. Stop waiting for a helicopter to come pick you up. Stop waiting for a yacht to come pick you up when the life vest has been thrown in front of you already.
Yeah. No, I like that. It's right in front of you. I mean, what was it like back in Jesus' day? It was, they saw God in flesh, did not receive him as it. It's just,
bro, like integrity. Could you imagine like being the person afterwards that like watched the crucifixion and was like, ooh, like
what are we doing?
It finally kicked in, like, ooh, like I finally just realized, like, hey, we just picked criminal to go free over God. Yeah, we're done. Like,
there's something wrong with us.
we're done. We're done.
Hey, if you liked any of this content and you found some value in it, make sure that you like, subscribe, and of course, share it. Also, if you're interested in some more, go ahead and check out these videos. Till next time, grace and peace. Adios.